We are live. Big Drive Energy, Sunday afternoon, signature Sunday. Getting the pod done on a Sunday before a holiday on a Monday. Tony Finau, bang, bang. He is my pick for the one and done. So shout out to Big Tone.
You told me that you took Taylor Pendrith.
I did not. I bailed. I completely bailed on Pendy.
Wow.
Because ironically, I was going to put Pendrith in my bets, and then I was going to put him in the picks as well, and I didn't. And then you took him, so I was like, oh, I got to stay off that. If Mitch is taking him, I can't be doing that.
The kiss of death. If I bet him, then yeah, you should avoid at all costs.
We are here. If you're listening to this on the audio after, if you're here on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Watching on Twitter as well. But we are here, and it is the 17th hole. Ludvig Aberg, my pick at plus 2,200 to win this event, has about 10 feet for birdie on the 17th hole. And I gave this guy no chance. Oh, he lipped it out. I
was going to say, so for those of you who don't listen to the podcast, I'm here in New Jersey, Spencer's in Colorado, and your TV is about a good 30 seconds behind mine. So I had already
let's not ruin it for the boy.
I was going to say, are we going no spoilers here? Is that the scenario?
Yeah, let's try to not ruin it for the homie.
Okay.
Me.
Well,
but all Ludvig has to do is make birdie on 18, and we're there.
Yes. So I mean, Patrick Cantlay rinsed his second shot on 18, so he's cooked. He did make birdie on 17 to get within 2, and it was kind of like, if he can make eagle, which I'm shocked he rinsed it. Tony Finau with the quick tee grab on 18T right down the middle.
What did we say about the no spoilers? Just kidding.
I mean, it's not Ludvig.
If we hit the bet plus 2,200 and you spoil that for me, I will take it day in and day out.
Yeah. Well, and Tony top 10. What was that? What were those
plus
odds?
450.
Okay.
No, maybe it was 280. Let me check this.
Plus 280. Also, Sam Stevens dead to me as well. Taylor Pendrith and Sam Stevens. I don't know what exactly it is about my picks, but they just literally never play well. I feel like it's Groundhog Day every weekend when I'm just refreshing my picks and they're pissing down their leg. It just feels like a rinse and repeat every weekend. So,
well, you had a little bit of steam going into the weekend with Sam Stevens. I mean, it was really, this tournament has been a lot lower scoring. Of course, we've got the 2 leaders at 11 under at this moment, but overall, I mean, Maverick McNealy came from basically nowhere today, shot 64, and is leading the tournament going into the 72nd hole. So I think a lot of guys really made their hay today. I mean, Tommy Fleetwood's going to top 10 it again, and he was nowhere to be found all week and not talked about all week. Patrick Rodgers, who's had a great week overall, I mean, he's going to probably finish in the top 5. Scottie Scheffler made a bunch of 6s yesterday, which was insane. I've never seen Scottie struggle so much as he did yesterday. That was kind of wild.
Yeah, highest round on the PGA Tour for him since the Players in 2022. And it just goes to show you how good Scheffler is, that he plays his worst round on tour in 3 years and still is going to finish in the top 3 with including a 4 over par. Or is that a 5 over par? No, it's par 72. 4 over par 76. And he still is going to finish in the top 3. And you compare that to Rory's week. Like, so yesterday, Scottie and Rory, neither of them could make anything. There was just a lid on the hole for both of them. But the difference is Scottie figures out a way to score. Rory ends up shooting even par today at 3 under total. Real quick, is Maverick McNealy's like little brother on the bag? I know McNealy's only 29, but it looks like he's got like a 16-year-old on the bag.
No, it is his little brother.
Okay, good. I did not hear that, so I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, it actually made me want to cheer for them a little bit more, considering that they're brothers and one of them was on the bag for the other one. That made me feel a little more bad about Ludvig Aberg and my pick winning.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There
Okay,
you go. You're back.
we're back. My goodness, this fucking mic is gonna drive me up a wall. Okay, so Ludvig split the fairway. I hope you saw that already.
Oh yeah, he split it like a fucking taco. It's right down the jar.
Bro, okay, so this is something I want to talk about with Ludvig, which it could be taken as the dumbest take ever, but I actually think I have some merit in this conversation. Not merit as in having been there, but it feels like Ludvig is so dead set on hitting it straight, and he hits it straight so often that he almost doesn't have like a stock go-to shot that he works off of. Does that make sense? Like earlier in this round when you were motherfucking him in our group chat the entire time, he was hitting the drive left, he was hitting the T-ball right. Like he kind of gets going both ways because he usually hits it so straight. Like, do you think there's something to having a go-to? Like you saw Maverick McNealy hitting this rope hook, not a rope hook, but relatively for these guys, he's working the ball 20 yards right to left with a mid iron. Like that's really not seen as much out on PGA Tour. But if you have a go-to shot like that, and in these pressure situations, you can step up and hit that shot, where Ludvig's like, well, I'm going to aim at the flag. If I hit it straight, which he does probably 70% of the time, but the other 30, I almost feel like he doesn't have like a miss pattern. And I know that the whole two-way miss, like take out one side of the golf course, that's kind of been debunked with like golf statistics now, but it really truly feels like Ludvig could miss in either direction, and not massively, but obviously the margins are not huge on the PGA Tour. So it just feels like he kind of works it both ways a little too much unintentionally.
Well, yeah, and when you're a Swedish golf robot like this beautiful man is,
Tony almost hold it out for 2.
Oh my God, Tony making my day, making my one and done day. I love this.
Tony 2 times. God damn
Damn,
it.
Big Drive Spence could have the fucking full sweep on the card. Top 10 and a winner. Watch this. I'm just gonna talk this up, and Ludvig's gonna fucking rinse this and make 6 and lose.
Well, I'm about to watch his shot. I won't go any spoilers or anything. So
yeah, I'm watching Scottie talk. I do want to shout out Scottie though, because when they announce his name on the first tee, it's hilarious how long it takes. Be winner of the 2024 Masters, winner of the 2024 Players, blah 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 blah, from Dallas, Texas. I'm trying to judge by your face right now, and I don't.
Let's just say it's not a guaranteed birdie.
Okay. Did he put one in the bunker or something? I am just now watching Tony hit this miraculous second shot.
Holy shit, you are so far behind me. People on the podcast are probably like, fucking figure it out. Patrick Rodgers. I mean, so let's see. There's really no. I mean, I guess if Rodgers or McCarthy get it to 9, Aberg's got to stay at 11 in order for any of this to be possible. We got McNealy over hitting balls on the range. I mean, McCarthy and Patrick Rodgers have an outside chance, but it's not looking great for them. Denny McCarthy, he is one of the best putters I've ever seen. And I think statistics back that up in the last 3 to 4 years on the PGA Tour. The guy just feels like he makes it from everywhere. Inside 10 feet, he's nails. And honestly, he's picked up a lot of ball speed this last season, just this year. Because I remember watching him at the Memorial when Victor Hovland buried our dreams in the playoff, and McCarthy was kind of hitting the driver a little wonky and not hitting it that far. Now he's getting up to 180 plus ball speed. So once again, me making excuses for why I don't swing it hard. He's not a big guy. He's moving it. But
McCarthy hasn't won on the PGA Tour, has he?
He is not. No.
And
Patrick Rodgers doesn't have a win.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing is looking at Patrick Rodgers, and they've been talking a lot about it. Of course, this is in California, and McNealy's a California kid, and so is Rodgers, and they're both Stanford kids. And you talk about just the overall dominance of amateur golf and collegiate golf that these two had, is they both had better scoring averages than Tiger Woods at Stanford. And they both won 11 times at Stanford, which was the same as Tiger Woods. So I mean, McNealy's won on the PGA Tour, Rodgers has not, but the fact that you have that good of a collegiate career and you're that good of an younger amateur player doesn't always translate to success on the PGA Tour. Now, success in general, these guys have. Like, they're on the PGA Tour, they're competing, they're not, hitting it around on the Asian Tour or whatever. They're good players and they're playing really good golf at a golf course that's, hosted US Opens and all that kind of stuff. But it is crazy when you see all these, and there's so many good amateurs and so many good amateur players that never amount to anything. But at the same time, when you have a Tiger Woods and you have the records like Tiger Woods does, and you play just as well as him at the same college, you're going to have some comparisons. And Maverick McNealy, not only golf-wise, but then he flew his own plane to this tournament. I mean, the guy he's a silver spooner 100%, but at the same time, like, he's still making a good life for himself and becoming a mid to top tier PGA Tour player and being able to fly his own fucking plane. Way cooler than me, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I will say this has me a little fucked up. For some reason, I always thought that the 18th at Torrey headed directly east away from the ocean. Turns out it goes north. It runs alongside the coast. And that has me in a mental pretzel because I'm very directionally based, I guess you would call it. So I'm about to watch Ludvig hit this putt from the back of the green.
Well, yeah, when you said not a guaranteed birdie, I mean, nothing's guaranteed for sure, but I thought he would be chipping it, like significantly chipping it, versus he's got flat stick out. Oh, God.
It is not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination.
So we need a little bit of fucking excitement here. We can't have a tap in for the win.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. I full disclosure, I want him to miss this. Like,
don't do that. We don't need a playoff.
I want this shit to go to a playoff, dude. This is what the PGA Tour needs. We've had a pretty stacked leaderboard. And to be fair, a lot of people thought Ludvig was out of it, middle of his round. Then he rattles off 3 straight birdies on the back nine, Spencer included. Rattles off 3 straight birdies on the back. And then now he's got like 8-9 feet to win it. But definitely not his best effort. And it was pretty crazy because Tiger was up in the booth with the guys, and Scheffler had that like 10-footer for eagle to get to 11. Or I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. To get to 10. To get to 10. Apologize. And Tiger read it from the booth, and Scheffler completely misread it and missed it by like 3 cups. It was actually kind of funny. Here's Tony to get it to 9 under. And oh my God, how do you leave that short? So Tony's going to finish at 8 under. He's going to finish inside the top 5 for you. So good looking out for you.
Good looking outs for my one and done and my betting card this week. Just a clean sweep with the Finau.
Hate to look ahead, but you think he wins in Mexico next week?
Oh, 100%.
I honestly don't think he's even in the field. I don't think he's going down there, which is kind of shocking.
It seems like his kind of event.
That is exactly an event that he would go win. Okay, so Ludvig's lining this up currently. I will not spoil this for you. But what other storylines we got this week? I mean, Patrick Cantlay played well today. Scheffler made a charge. McNealy, his putting today was unbelievable. He had 13 putts through 11 holes.
Yeah, and I
honestly thought he was on 59 watch.
120 plus feet of putts through 9 holes, or 11 holes, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at strokes gained today. I think he gained 4.5 strokes on the field just putting today.
Yeah, I mean, he was just unbelievably fucking
Did you forget we're on a podcast? So you're just watching TV?
No, we had some comments rolling in here that I missed. So.
Oh, okay. Are you about to watch him line it up?
Yeah, he's lining it up right now. McNealy's hitting balls. Is this Swedish golf robot going to end it for me?
Does it go in or no? Call it right now.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. No, if I didn't have money on him, it would be 100% in. Since I've got money on him, he's fucking missing this. He's been pretty nails with a few putts. I mean, he had the couple of bogeys on like 6 and 7 that basically took him out of it, or so I thought, because McNealy was just making birdie every hole. What do you think Justin Thomas felt like today? He played with Maverick McNealy, and he is going to.
I don't think your microphone can handle that volume because it just like blanked you out. Dude, McNealy on the range just dapping up his brother. Fucking, like, let's pack it in.
Pick your clubs up, Mav. This one's over. This one's over, pal.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was fully prepared to walk into this podcast and pose the question: is Ludvig Aberg somewhat of a choker? Like, is the moment too big for him? Because and he just gave the big like blue or raspberry with like the wide open eyes. So I think he's definitely a little bit relieved. But
I mean, I don't know where the other guys are at, but theoretically, can't Rodgers birdie 18 or birdie 17 and eagle 18 and still win it?
No, Rodgers already missed his birdie putt on 17.
Oh, okay. I was like, they're just declaring him the winner. And
so unless Patrick Rodgers can drive it into the hole on 18, then I think Aberg
would be a pretty incredible golf shot, to be honest.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hey, good pick, dude.
What I think is really hilarious is the fact that I wonder how much our boy Tyler Warren, he was on Ludvig Aberg as well, but he bets like serious coin on these, so he's probably in a good spot. I didn't bet a ton, but that's because we've just been
just burned through money like
we've just been fucking lighting money on fire this entire PGA Tour season. So,
well, hey, I mean, you hit a couple spots. I like to do this when I'm gambling like the blackjack table. I think this week in Mexico, I think you just make picks. I'm not making picks. I need a reset.
Well, what was funny is all week when we put our picks out, I was like tweeting our fiery hot gambling picks and this and that. And now I get to go back and do a little victory lap on all of those on Twitter and Instagram. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I kind of can't believe it. I thought there may be a chance going into the back that he could birdie 18 to get into the lead or get tied for the lead. But I didn't think he had to rattle off 3 pretty good birdies in a row. I mean, that putt on 15 was it's not like he had some makeable putts, but dude, looking at just his week when he got to 8 today, because he bogeyed like 5 and 6, gets to 8, and he had birdied 8 all 3 days, and it's like a long, hard par 3. I mean, his long and hard,
just like he likes it.
Oh yeah, look at him! What a beauty. This Swedish beauty. Now you have to put the farm on Sweden in the 4 nations because Sweden's riding high right now.
No, I think the U.S. is riding pretty high after last night. The Bash brothers out there cracking skulls, fucking chucking bombs and doing something to moms.
Yeah, isn't it hilarious how like you look at Maverick McNealy, his brother on the bag, they just cleared a cool like 1.4 million. The Kachuk brothers are slinging it for America, and we're sitting here. This is where we made it.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes it just really puts you in a damper of a mood when you realize how far some brothers have come.
They say that comparison is the thief of joy, so I'm not going to go there with with my life versus theirs. But let's get into Ludvig's final round and just his stats for the week. Strokes gained off the tee, 4th. Strokes gained approach, 4th. Around the green, 15th. Putting, 18th. Overall strokes gained total, number 1. Which, oddly enough, this may sound like I'm very dumb, but can you not win strokes gained and still win the event, like have the lowest total? I don't think you can. Like, I don't think that makes any sense. You have to be number 1 overall. Obviously, in different categories, you cannot win, but you have to win overall in order to win the event. That was kind of a John Madden, like, answer your own question type of shit. Patrick Rodgers here is still playing for something. He can make
do you have
field goal
all the
first
strokes gained in front of you, or is it just Ludvig?
Who do you want? Who you?
Well, is Scottie? Did Scottie lead the field in approaching and off the tee, and then was dead last in putting?
Let's see his stats for this week. Strokes gained off the tee 24th, approach 18, around the green 2nd, and putting 21st.
Okay.
So in all honesty, that's a lot more balanced than I thought it was.
Well, and for a guy that's just playing such good golf and on such a career heater, the fact that he's in the teens in strokes gained approaching the green and in the 20s teeing it up, that's not typical Scottie fashion for you.
Yeah, I will say yesterday, his 76, he gave up 3.15 shots to the field just on the putting green. So that is definitely, we've talked about it, that's the weakness of his game and continues to be the weakness of his game. Another thing that's popped into my head throughout this week, you remember when we went and played in San Francisco, and mind you, Torrey Pines is not San Francisco. It's not the real heavy air. It's still the California coast, but it's not like the smog, the cold, damp weather. But these dudes are I watched Ludvig hit his tee shot on 18 or on 17. I'm sorry. He hits 3-wood and carries it 288. What is in these guys' Cheerios that I just am not built with? That's legitimately carrying it 50 to 60 yards past my 3-wood at sea level. I just don't know. Obviously, I'm not built like that. They're built different, but it feels like, and even I watched Patrick Rodgers hit a hybrid today from 270 and hit it hole high. If I was on the bag, I thought about that. If I was caddying for some of these dudes, I would just be amazed at the sheer distance. That hybrid Rodgers hit, he blew it 20 yards right into the bunker. But at the same time, just the audio coming off the club, it just sounds so fucking pure. And, ooh, I mean, Rodgers can move it. He is truly one of the guys, when you talk about guys that have not won on the PGA Tour, that you feel like they should have won multiple times, Patrick Rodgers is in that camp. One, because he played so well in college. He was so good coming out of college. But two, he's got all of the physical tools. The guy's 6'3", he's built. He kind of gives me Dustin Johnson type vibes. Oh, Greg Gomez talking shit about blowing it past me. Hey, the only number that matters is the number on the scorecard, Greg. Fucking get on the train and come play me, baby.
Yeah, well, speaking to when we played Harding Park, I've never been so demoralized by what clubs I was hitting in my entire life. Other than the one time we did play at Kiawah Island, not the ocean course, but what course did we play? The river or whatever course that was.
3 of them.
Well, the one that we played that was really close to the ocean course, where I hit a 7-iron from 140 and was still short. That par 3 where the wind was right into us and it was right on the water. No chance.
Yeah, you can absolutely be humbled by these yardages. I remember that first tee shot I hit at Harding Park, and it was very foggy, very dense, one of those cold mornings there. I think I carried my driver 235 yards. So, yeah, you kind of have to be, I mean, you just have to be in a certain mindset. But for these dudes, Denny McCarthy's carrying it 3+ bills out here at sea level at Torrey Pines. So, it's just one of those stay in school moments where if you're swinging it $120, congratulations. That's everybody on the PGA Tour right now. And they're a better putter than you, and they're a better iron player, and they have a better short game. They're better at literally everything. It is truly it makes me wonder what the PGA Tour is going to look like in 20 years. It's just going to be the absolute most elite of the elite. These athletes are just getting better and better. Blades Brown's going to have won fucking 6 majors by then, by the age of 25. The sport just keeps getting younger and younger. And even Maverick McNealy, he's 29, but he looks like he's 23. He definitely. Do you think he's like in that Illuminati, like anti-aging shit? Because his dad's a billionaire. Like
He's definitely set up better than the rest of us. That's for sure.
Yeah, like McNealy's out here doing this shit for fun. Oh, another thing I want to mention, they're replaying McNealy's final round. Did you see that terrible break he got on 17 off the tee?
Oh, where it hit the fans and then like went back into the
Yeah, this when it hit the spectator, bounces into this terrible fucking lie. He almost left it like 10 feet in front of him. It dribbles out to the first cut, and then he hits a wedge to like 10 feet and fucking knocks it in for par. Like that was all world, especially under those circumstances.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before where, it was regarding bunker shots where PGA Tour players compared to scratch golfers are just on such a different level when it doesn't feel that way. But watching today, of course, I'm watching with an interest in Ludvig Aberg winning the tournament, so I'm not cheering for Maverick McNealy. But when players of this caliber can have bad breaks like he did on 17, their second shot, the announcers were like, oh my God, I can't believe he hit that. That could have gone anywhere. And then he just steps up from 120 and zips it to like 10 feet and makes it. That is so high level. And not only is it high level from the actual golf aspect of it, but the mental fortitude you have to have in order to be leading a golf tournament. You really can't give up a shot at any point with the best player in the world chasing you, Ludvig Aberg chasing you, all these other guys. And then you somehow just get a wedge up and down from 120 like it's nothing. And he was in some kind of zone today. I mean, I did not see his single bogey. I think he made one bogey on 14, I want to say. I didn't see it, but apparently from what the announcers were saying later on, he was middle of the fairway with a pitching wedge in his hand and ends up making bogey. And that's just how this game will get you, because like you said, I thought after 11, he birdied 11 or 12, it was like 59 watch level. And then you hit a perfect tee shot. You're in the middle of the fairway. You're playing one of the better rounds of your entire life in a huge signature event with a stacked field and all these guys chasing you. And then you make bogey from there. Just golf will never allow you to fully. I mean, even in the rounds that guys shot 59, I'm sure they were like, yeah, there was one or two out there that I shouldn't have missed or should have. But then you go back and when you have a 50-footer that you make 120 feet of putts in 12 holes, that's pretty substantial. 13 putts and 11 holes. Like if I'd make it through 8 holes with 13 putts, I'd be fucking thrilled. I usually get to my 13th putt on about 6 or 7. And that's
depending on maybe sometimes 5 or 6. But yeah, the water's got to find its level at some point with McNealy. Like you're not going to stay that hot for all 18. But the ironic thing about the round was, if I am not mistaken, the toughest stretch of holes in this course, I felt like I saw dudes making bogeys all over the first 6 holes. That first stretch of holes on the course were probably some of the toughest all week. And then you kind of can make your hay towards the end of the back 9. Obviously 18 was gettable. The par 5s were pretty goable this week. McNealy just came out scorched earth, made fucking 6 birdies in 8 holes. I'm like, who is this guy? And even Andrew Novak again. Andrew Novak had a great round going. He was 4 under through 4, and I think finished in the top 10. So kind of a guy that's definitely come out of nowhere to establish himself with a couple of big top 10s. And oddly enough, so I was actually about to pick Novak for our one and done. And then I was like, he's pretty young. He already played well at Torrey once. Like, is he going to do it again? And then he turns around and does it again. So it truly felt like a horses for courses scenario. But I will say, like, speaking of horses for courses, it feels like Ludvig Aberg is built to win at Torrey Pines, which he did. So it's, hindsight's 2020 there. But he just hits it so long. He hits it so straight. And realistically, that's good anywhere. But Torrey Pines with the rough 4 or 5 inches deep this week. The greens weren't crazy fast, but just tee to green, one of the toughest tests they face all year, and especially now with the rough being up. So Ludvig was just head and shoulders above the field all the way around. You know, he made the putts when he needed to, coming down that back nine stretch when everybody thought he was out of it.
Well, it is interesting to see the scores because we talked about it previewing this tournament where they just played Torrey Pines. There was a little bit more to the rough this week. I think they made it a little bit more U.S. Open style, if you will, and grew the rough out compared to the Farmers Insurance Open. But do you think it was just a matter of, I think the weather was a little bit better this week than it was for the Farmers Insurance Open. And I know the field wasn't as good, but is that just the reason that these scores are 12, 11, 10, and Harris English won this exact same tournament basically 3 weeks ago at 8 under?
No, I mean, I honestly think, and oddly enough, have you seen the headshot of Ludvig? He kind of looks like a meerkat. Like if you look at Ludvig's headshot here in a bit, kind of looks like he's popping up out of one of those holes in the desert. Anywho, I honestly think it was just quality of field. And the weather Thursday this week was terrible. Those guys were out there beating it around. I think scoring average was well above par on Thursday. And then it did get better over the weekend, kind of like where these guys made their hay. There was plenty of dudes today. Daniel Berger was even par going into the day, shot 5 under and was 5 under total and finishes like in the top 15. So there was a lot of that where, I mean, look at McNealy. He started the day 3 under and ends up at 11 for the week. So I think today was by far the easiest day of the week. Earlier in the week was tougher, but realistically, I think you have all of these dudes out here 3 weeks ago. I think the scores are similar to what they were this week.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like Ludvig, guy like Scottie, the whole leaderboard. I think this was another great event. I think the PGA Tour backed up last week with another great event, a week where people are not watching any other sports. I mean, last night, of course, the Four Nations, everybody was dialed in on that, but that was later in the night. But another open Sunday, which we're going to have a lot of these coming up here, and the majors garner everyone's attention. But I think even the casual fan tuned into this one, if you're like kind of a golf fan or are really smart and have a bet on Ludvig Aberg, I don't know who those guys are out there, but you're definitely tuning in for this. And like Torrey Pines, just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the vibe behind this tournament being a signature event and having less players and having a better field, but it just felt like it had juice. And the same exact golf course 3 weeks ago felt like a laugher almost. It felt like something that it was essentially an irrelevant tournament. So it really does go to show that just when you have guys in it, I mean, Rory didn't finish in it, but was pretty much in it on Thursday, Friday. And that's what's so fun about these events where Thursday and Friday are tough is a guy stays around even par and he's in the field and in the event going, because somebody around even par could have shot 67 yesterday and been 2 or 3 shots off the lead, another 67 today, and they're right there basically competing for the whole event. So it is fun when you're looking at, especially like from a betting standpoint, or like when we pick a guy like Sam Stevens, who was 1 or 2 over par through his first 4 or 5 holes, but then was still firmly in when he was even par, 1 under, 2 under going into the weekend. So I do enjoy these lower scoring events because you can have guys. I mean, Ludvig shoots 32 on the back 9 and finishes with a birdie on the 72nd hole and wins the event, versus like, oh, you have to shoot 2 64s on the weekend in order to even be able to compete at these tournaments that are 20, 22, 23 under. And every tournament has its own little quirks, but a place like this and seeing a guy like Maverick McNealy go, when you can go scorched earth and it actually matters, that's a lot more fun. Like anybody started at 2 or 3 under today was in this event theoretically, because 64, 63, 64 was out there.
Oh no, I absolutely agree. Oddly enough, do you feel like the broadcast this week, there was so many dudes, like for instance, Daniel Berger, Michael Kim, Sahith Theegala, so many guys inside the top 25. I didn't see hit a single shot all week. I was watching it on the ESPN Plus broadcast all the way through till the weekend, and there's just so many dudes where I'm like, can I not get a fucking shot of this guy? Like Michael Kim, shout out Michael Kim, another fantastic finish. I think he played his way into this signature event with his finish last week in Phoenix. And then he goes in top 15s again. Like, this dude is running into a really good stretch of golf too, which is awesome. And it goes to show you, like, everybody's been following Michael Kim for a couple of years now on Twitter, and everybody's shocked that he's on the PGA Tour. They've never seen him on a leaderboard before. They're like, who the fuck is this dude? You know, he won the John Deere in 2017 or some shit. And now this last week, he's got a top 5 and a top 15 at 2 big golf courses. And it's like, yeah, he's actually a pretty fucking good golfer as well.
Yeah. Well, and do you know who Ludvig Aberg played with today?
I don't.
See, that's part of the problem. Tony Finau. You saw like 2 of his golf shots, 3 of his golf shots all day. And granted, yes, you're going to get to the Ludvigs or the guys that are actually competing to win the event. But to your point, they pick and chose who was being shown. And Tony Finau was not really in it, ended up finishing T5. But it was basically Rodgers, who was leading going into Sunday, of course, Ludvig, a lot of Scottie shots. Scottie put some pressure on the back 9 with that chip in. But yeah, to your exact point, I think I saw Michael Kim hit like 2 putts when he was like sort of getting to a point where he may have a chance, when the leaders were at 8 and then 9 and 10, and he was up to 5 under. Got to a point where it was close, but you're not seeing a lot of these guys hit golf shots. And then they brought Tiger in the booth, so that took a lot of the TV time, which I don't disagree with necessarily, but they were talking to Tiger, and did you hear they were talking about his career? And he started when he was 16 at Torrey. And it's just crazy to think his son, I'm blank, Charlie, just turned 16. They had to get a Charlie Woods hole-in-one on the camera for sure. Not relevant at all, but
yeah, I mean, so actually, a little correction. The first tournament he went to was at Torrey Pines. The first PGA Tour event he played in was at Riviera, which would have been this week. So, and that's what Tiger said. He talked about the change of venue due to the fires and everything. And he said that he felt like Torrey Pines was an iconic venue, similar enough to Riviera, because he said they talked about moving it to Vegas. They talked about Scottsdale. They talked about staying in the Monterey area. And Tiger legitimately was like, I feel like this course can compete with Riviera, you know, in its stature, its icon factor. Like, the US Open that he won here was super iconic. So I think, you know, if they couldn't play at Riviera, Torrey was the obvious choice. One other funny non-golf thing, and this, I don't want to sound like a fucking bad news bearer, like poo-pooing charity, but did you hear that Hyundai is donating all 80 cars this week? That they not Hyundai, fucking what's the
Hyundai Genesis, I'm pretty sure.
Genesis is just its own brand. It used to be Hyundai, but now it's just Genesis. Genesis is donating all of their cars to the fire victims. And it just in my mind, like, your house gets burned down and they're like, here, have a luxury vehicle. Like, what the fuck? Do you want them to live in it? Like, what's the deal? I just thought that was kind of ironic. Like, they're donating $8 million worth of cars. I think they need homes. I think people need a place to live. $8 million worth of cars is great. Maybe they just couldn't move them off the fucking lot. Maybe they're slowing on the sales, and they're like, here, let's give 80 cars away for a nice fat tax break. I just thought that was ironic. It was pretty funny. They're like, we're giving away cars.
That's kind of how, going back to the people complaining about getting pizza and beer and not enough of it for a hole-in-one. I think a car is still a pretty good prize.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, it's not a prize. It's people who lost their homes and shit.
Well, it's a gift. Okay. A gift prize.
Yeah. You're like, oh, this is a pretty good consolation. I would take this. Back to the golf, Rory.
Real quick, before we get to the golf, if you guys are watching this on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up on this video. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. If you're listening to this on the audio version, wherever you get your podcasts, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us out a ton. We'd appreciate this. I think we're going to start going live for the signature events on Sunday, because it's a lot more electric being able to watch live versus waiting till Monday and figuring out what we're going to talk about. Like especially for a signature event with this high level of a field and high level of a golf course, I'm all the way in.
I agree. And I brought up the idea of, since it's Siggy Sunday, we should have cigarettes for these signature Sunday events. So I think that is something that we need to add to this broadcast moving forward on signature Sundays. I'll go buy a pack of fucking Marlboro Reds. I can rip a
shout
heater.
out, free shout out.
That's just the Cowboy Killers. That's what we grew up with in our area. So I'm not smoking any fucking Newports or any of that jazz. Just the straight up, give me the real deal. Give me the Marlboro Reds. But I do have the patio right here. I could go smoke a hoon. Greg, Scottie top 10 should be on your betting card every week. Yeah, no shit, Greg. That is the most obvious thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, the thing is, Greg, is yes, that is correct. But you also have to, it's like, I think this week it was minus 290.
Yeah.
Like any loser that gives out a minus 290 pick and claims to be a gambling tout can go fucking get bent. Like whenever I see somebody post a card on Twitter and it's like, oh yeah, Lakers money line versus the Utah Jazz minus 350. Thank you. That's awesome. Really good insight there. Why would we bet Scottie top 10 when we can give out plus 2,200 winners and plus 285 winners with the fee now?
Let's fucking go. Yeah, I'm definitely taking Mexico off. I'm just not putting any bets out there. I'm taking a break on the card.
I think I'll just like put a stamp over your name and just be like on break. And I'll just pick 2 winners in a long shot and see what happens.
I want you to put stepping back from the table, because that's what I do when I'm running real cold on a blackjack table. I'm like, I got to sit out a few hands here. Let me gather my thoughts, fucking reset, and then hop back in. So this stat that real quick from Rory, with his putter, because once again, like I said, Rory and Scottie both struggled mightily on the greens, and one more than the other, because Scottie finished in the top 3. Rory finished in the top 25. I think he shot 3 under total, maybe 4. Yeah, 3 under total, even par on the day when everybody was boat racing him. But Scottie lost 6.88 strokes. So hypothetically, call it 7 strokes. Rory lost 7 strokes with the putter over the weekend. That's the worst 3rd and 4th round total of his entire career. So he could legitimately say it's his worst putting weekend of his entire career, which, you know, that's you could just tell his reads were off. He wasn't seeing it. But I still think Rory, he's still hitting the ball really well. He's going to have a lot of really high finishes. I still like him at the majors. But that putter, when it gets cold, it gets really, really cold. And it feels like our boy Seth, let's go. So he probably had Ludvig as well. It feels like when Rory, similar to like the Eagles when they don't run the football, like if Rory's not making putts, everything else is shit. You know, it's one of those where Rory sees a few go in, and then all of a sudden he's driving it better. He's hitting the wedges close. It feels like the putter kind of solves all of it. Winning solves everything. Rory's putter for him solves everything. So when he putts poorly, it's just all time fucking bad, like relative to what you think it should be.
Well, we do this almost every time somebody wins, and we've talked about Rory winning a major this year. Ludvig's won before. I thought he was going to win the Masters last year. There was a point where I would have put a good amount of money on him live to win the Masters, and then Scottie did his thing. But now, do you put Ludvig Aberg back up to the, there's only 4 majors, a lot of competition with those. The live guys, of course, coming over and playing in these, the best ones, let's put it that way, the ones that can actually win these things or have won. And now it's like, if you're just blindly ranking players in the world, Scottie's up first, of course, because he just doesn't not top 5 any event he plays in, it seems like. But is Ludvig Aberg now the guy that you, I guess, would just blindly place a bet on him to win any major and not necessarily say like, oh, I think he can win the Masters because his game fits there. I'm not saying that's not correct, but just in general, between a Masters, a US Open, a PGA championship, or an Open championship. I think he's a guy that I would feel comfortable putting the same unit on all four of them and hoping that one falls into place in 2025, because I think I'm not saying anything revolutionary here, but he's definitely got the game to win a major. And I think just overall his mindset and his demeanor is, I saw a tweet on Thursday when he made the ace at 6, and somebody tweeted exactly how you'd expect a robot to react to a hole-in-one. I think it was like a pretty tame reaction, and then one of these, just like a nice double fist pump, and that was it. So I think
he was like,
power
God damn
rankings.
I got to buy all the media pizza and beer now. Fuck. I'm out at least 300 beans for this hole-in-one. There was a few hole-in-ones. I honestly thought about that when I saw that front left pin on that short downhill par 3. What is it, 6? I want to say. I was like, yeah, somebody's making a hole-in-one there. And then Ludvig throws one in. Keegan ripped one back into the jar today as well. So a couple hole-in-ones there. But yes, Ludvig, long story short, he is definitely in the top 4 or 5 guys that every major you're taking a good hard look at. Like, and it feels like with every win, the momentum gains and gains, because that is, it's clear he's got the game. Like you said, it's more just now proving it and actually getting the job done. And I would contend that this is the closest thing we're going to get to a major golf course wise, field wise on the PGA Tour this year. So it's a very good event to win. It's got to give Ludvig just a shitload of confidence. And yeah, I mean, his game can win anywhere. I will contend, though, that maybe I don't know if I'll ever see this guy win an Open championship because he hits it too fucking high, dude. He's just scraping God's taint up there. Like, he's hitting it so fucking high with everything. Like, he's hitting a 3-wood apex like 100, and he's hitting it like I hit a wedge. And now it's going 280 yards, and I'm, while I hit 3-wood fucking 235, 240. But he honestly, I don't know if he's got the shots in his bag, because he is just, like you said, such a fucking robot. It's just every single time it's high and straight. And at what point, obviously I sound like a complete idiot for not saying that that's the best thing you could possibly do as a golfer. But it feels like at some point he's going to have to work the ball a little bit. He's going to have to control his ball flight. And he just swings it the exact same every time. When have you ever seen Ludvig like saw off a finish or put the ball in the back of his stance, or, try to work the ball? It just feels like every single time he sets it up the exact same, he swings it the exact same. And that can be really good, but maybe it's not perfect for every golf tournament. I'm just playing devil's advocate at this point, because if I could trade a golf swing with anybody right now, it'd probably be Ludvig Aberg or Scottie Scheffler. But Scottie's not as aesthetically pleasing. Ludvig's got the nice fucking balance finish every single time. It's just so repeatable.
Yeah, watching Scottie, though, is just still electric because his feet are going everywhere. He's taking these massive pelts out of the rough and hitting these big cuts and big draws. He can work the absolute shit out of the ball. And I, as a ball knower and watcher of someone that on a very minute level tries to work the golf ball at the same time, because there's every time I go to a Ludvig Aberg mindset where I'm like, I think I'm just going to hit this one straight. I'm like, let's not do that. It could be bad. You could double cross and aim left, and I could hit it further left. But when I genuinely try to cut or draw the ball, it usually comes out more decent than if I'm trying to hit one straight and have everything be on plane right through the target, like club at the target, like all the different things that it takes to hit a ball straight. I'm like, no, I'd rather slice across it. No, I'm going to get some cut out of it. If it's a driver, a good slice out of it. And then it's, I'm going to lose a little distance, but maybe even if I start it left to the fairway, I know it's coming back at some point.
No, Scottie works the shit out of it pretty consistently, but I will say, and once again, none of these things that we're saying are earth-shattering, never before heard type of things, but I don't know if I've seen a guy control his distance as well from every single yardage since like probably Tiger, and maybe even as good as Tiger at controlling distance as Scottie Scheffler. it feels like no matter what surface he's in, he's coming out of that 4-inch rough here at Torrey, or he's coming out of the fairway. It could be a 70-yard shot. It could be a 130-yard shot. It could be a 190-yard shot. It feels like he's hitting his number almost every single fucking time. Like, whether it's 10, 15 feet left, whether it's 40 feet left, it rarely feels like Scottie, like Patrick Rodgers, for instance, who is not one on tour, on the 17th hole, it's a 190-yard par 3 or a 200-yard par 3. He hits a 6-iron, draws it probably 20 yards left, and it's 10 yards long, and he's fucking hosed from there. Like, you very rarely see Scottie miss a number. And it's even more impressive because you watch his tee shots, like you said, with the footwork, and he's got 180 mile an hour ball speed, and his fucking feet are like he's playing, what's that fucking game we used to play? Where you put your hands and feet in different places.
Twister.
Yes, like it feels like he's playing Twister out there because his fucking feet are all over the place. The follow through could be anywhere, and he's still like hitting the center of the club face. It truly is like you're watching somebody that you haven't seen before when you watch this guy play, because it's not robotic. And that's what is so crazy about him, is the results are so consistent, and it physically, it looks very inconsistent.
Yeah, he's a fun watch for a guy that likes to move the ball and likes to watch guys that just draw, fade, cut back into the back right pin. Like, he's got all of that.
Yeah, and he just knows if he's cutting a wedge, like a bleed cut from like 115 yards, he knows exactly what that shot feels like, and he knows how to do it every single time. You rarely see Scottie. And I now that I say that, I do recall in these last few weeks, he's hit a few short irons where I'm like, I've legitimately never seen Scottie do that. One of the par 3s at the Waste Management's like $165, number 12. And he hit this 9-iron that was like 30 yards short left of the hole. I'm like, that. And you've talked about that with me on a very lesser level, where when I hit a bad shot, you're like shocked. And it's obviously like if I top it or something, which I only do when I'm absolutely shit-faced. But when I saw Scottie hit those few shots, I'm like, did somebody steal his face and put it over theirs? Because this is not the Scottie Scheffler that I know.
Yeah. You got anything else? We're about to wrap this bad boy, this first Siggy Sunday of 2025 up.
Yeah, a couple non-golf things that just off the top of my head while I'm thinking about it. I got a pair of Air Monarchs this week. I know I've mentioned it to you a few times. They are the most comfortable shoe I've ever worn in my entire life. And they are legitimately, so I ordered the extra wides because I got some fat fucking feet. I ordered the extra wides, and they're so wide that I was like clipping things with my shoe that like you're moving around and you like hit something. Right? You're like, what the fuck? How did my shoe get that? I was at the gym getting ready. I was stretching out, getting ready to get on the elliptical. And like, it feels like I have clown shoes on because they're so fucking massive compared. It feels like my foot is just in like this massive casing. But
did the Air Monarchs fit into the elliptical machine?
Yes, exactly. It was basically like the big footprints on the elliptical. You just slide that fucking thing right in there. No, they're like huge, but they're so fucking comfortable. So if you're on the fence about ordering a pair of grandpa shoes, because I definitely feel like our Uncle Dennis, who's in his 70s, he's been rocking the Monarchs for a couple decades. And I finally was like, dude, these things, and they look kind of swaggy now. Like, they're low key pretty good looking. I used to talk hella shit on them, and now I've changed my ways. I also just bought a $12 dozen of eggs, or is actually like 13. So that seems like a crisis in America right now.
Well, on the same token, we just went and bought $7 for 18 eggs at a Whole Foods, surprisingly enough.
See, so I got mine at Whole Foods, but they were called the only ones they had left at Whole Foods. They were heirloom blue eggs.
The eggs actually blue?
They're like a tinge. They're like a touch of blue. I tweeted about them. I tweeted out not the picture of the egg, but like a picture of the carton. But yeah, $13 for a dozen. And there was legitimately 4 dozen of those left. Everything, not a single egg in the place otherwise. So we need to figure out this chicken scenario because I'm done paying $13 for a dozen eggs. Do we want to do a quick mulligan of the week while we're at it? Like,
yeah, might as well send it. You got one on the top?
Yeah. So yesterday I went and got a coffee from Whole Foods. Well, I just go to Whole Foods like every day. It is low key like my happy place. I just walk in. I love the smell. They have great coffee. So I get a coffee, and she puts like 2 shots of espresso in it. It's just a latte, whatever. She puts 2 shots of espresso in it, but it looks super dark. Like relative, when somebody hands you your coffee and you're like, this is fucking wrong. This isn't correct. So she hands it to me and it's super dark. So I brought it home and I threw like a little bit more half and half in there to lighten it up. And then I was like, oh, this doesn't feel like it has enough coffee. So I put another double shot of espresso in it. And I hadn't really had anything to eat. And I was a little like hungover from Friday night. And I got so fucking wired, dude. I was like vibrating. I did not know what to do with my hands. My hands were like tingling. I felt like a fucking pent up hummingbird. I was just and I was like, I gotta fucking eat something. I was shaking like crazy. So needless to say, I don't need to add more coffee to my coffees. But immediately when I did that, I'm like, what the fuck? And even Missy was like, what are you doing? Like, why do you don't need more than a double shot of espresso? So I technically had like 4 shots of espresso. And I don't know how people operate. Like, you operate on so much caffeine and you have nicotine in your mouth at all times, which I do as well. But the caffeine just puts it over the top for me. So I had a rough afternoon yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had like too much coffee, but then again, I've always generally eaten when I have coffee or have an energy drink. So it doesn't, I think I honestly have a reverse effect. It's just almost a placebo effect whenever I drink caffeine I think it should make me more hyped up and it really doesn't. My mulligan of the week. So we went to the Dirty Duck on Friday night, little Valentine's Day post. When you have a babysitter till X amount of time, you're not going home early. You're going to go after dinner and get some drinks. But so I saw that they have a discount if you pay with cash, or they basically said like cash is king, like try to use cash. And I had some cash on me. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm going to be able to get a couple drinks here and just pay them cash like they want. And the guy doesn't say how much the drinks are. And I've never been here. I would assume they're cheaper, but we ordered 2 double vodka sodas and he's like, I have $40 in my hand. So I'm sure that's plenty, but he just like sticks his hand out and doesn't tell me how much it is. So I hand him one of the 20s and he goes, oh, it's going to be more than that. And I was like, well, fuck's sake, take both the 20s then, dude. Like, I was like, you didn't tell me how much it was. I was trying to fucking do some mental math and figure out how much to tip you. I mean, it was only $25 for 2 doubles. But
even then, for the Dirty Duck, that feels high.
Yeah, but I saw the pour and it was also Tito's. So I wasn't mad about spending $25 because normally that's 1 drink or 2 singles or whatever. But just the way he was like, oh, it's going to be more than that. And I'm like, well, fucking tell me how much it is then, dude.
He just little boyed you. Like,
yeah. It's just like an old, 50-year-old man bartender. And, he's not taking shit from anyone. And it's just a mess of people at the bar. And I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I've dealt with him before. I think he actually had this sick Dirty Duck tie-dye t-shirt on. And I was pretty fucking tuned up one time and I tried to buy his fucking shirt off him. I was like,
the shirt off his back.
I tried to buy the shirt right off his back. He was like, yeah, we made these like 30 years ago. And I'm like, I want that fucking shirt. He's like, you can't have it. I was like, God,
give me that shirt, Grandpa.
Give me that shirt, Pop, and nobody gets hurt. Fucking see me beat up an old man.
Yeah, well, that's our mulligan of the week. Appreciate you all tuning in on this Sunday, Signature Sunday edition of Big Drive Energy. Give us a thumbs up on the way out if you're watching this on the YouTube, or if you're watching it on Twitter, wherever. Retweet it, like it, do whatever you got to do. Subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcast. And follow us on social media at Big Drive Energy Golf on Instagram, Big Drive Energy on TikTok. I am at Big Drive Spence. He is at Big Drive Mitch. We're wrapping it up. Enjoy the holiday tomorrow. A lot of people are going to have off work. It's supposed to be nice-ish here. Going to go get outside, have a few beers, I think, treat it like an actual holiday. And we'll be back on Wednesday with another edition of Big Drive Energy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Enjoy your holiday Monday. We will talk to you on Hump Day Wednesday. Peace.